Now, if I was starting again to release music on Spotify in 2025 as an indie over 50 artist, I wouldn't just upload a song and cross my fingers. That's what I did back in 2021. I tried the socials, I tried playlisting. Some campaigns tanked, some did surprisingly well, and I'll give you more details about that later. Last year, I started experimenting with meta ads. I trialed, I tested, I failed, I succeeded, but I've learnt. And I learned a lot. So if you're over 50 and wondering how to actually get your music heard, this is how I do it today. G'day and welcome to Indie Over 50. My name is John Huggart and this channel is dedicated to those of us over the age of 50 releasing new original music on Spotify and YouTube. Got new music out? Drop your links below and you might be able to be featured on our next Indie Over 50 playlist. It started with the Share and Hope era. In 2021, I put out a song I was really proud of, very excited to put out my first release on Spotify. Oh, and by the way, it wasn't my first release. My first real release, because I'm over 50, goes back to 1988. It was vinyl. It was a single 7-inch. Different story, different video. Anyway, here we are in 2021. I put it out there and I thought, it's out there. It's in the world. It's a beautiful song. And I hoped. Now, I did nice little posts on my social media of Instagram or Facebook and shared them and tried to get people excited or interested about my new song. But it really didn't work. It was pretty silent response. Bottom line, I got a few streams, I got a few followers, but I can't say the song was really heard. And by the way, if you are just releasing, the common thought now is unless you're a megastar with people waiting to hear your latest album at midnight, then just drop a single at a time or drip feed the singles until the album builds. It's really, that's how the world works today. And then I moved into my playlisting era. And this is where I discovered that you could find a way to engage with playlists for free or for paid versions as well. I tried those free campaigns, I tried the paid campaigns, and I went directly to different playlists. Some campaigns flopped, but the main thing is with playlisting, it's a sugar hit. You're on that list for 21 days or a month or something like that, and your streams go through the roof and you feel good. It's a sugar hit, but it's not sustainable. The people have engaged with that playlist because it's a great playlist and they've heard your song. Maybe they'll save and they'll like it, but it doesn't necessarily create you an engaged listener or follower for the future. But here's where things changed up a little bit. The first song I put out there was Faith, Hope and Love. And I'm really excited and very proud about the song. And it was recognized. It was a finalist in the John Lennon Songwriting Competition globally, was semi-finalist in a number of other competitions globally and locally in Australia. And with playlisting, it did actually do pretty well, especially there was one quite large playlist and it sat there for over a year. So that really helped that song find an audience and get a lot of streams and plays. To this date, it's had over 20,000 streams. And quite frankly, and in hindsight, it's actually been quite effective in terms of return on investment. Not that any of this is a return on investment, but in terms it's a very low cost per stream because of the effectiveness and because it was picked up by so many playlists who were happy to keep it on for an extended period of time. So the takeaway here, playlisting is great. One thing it's really good for is feedback. So it does give you some early feedback. And you can tell if you send it out to 10 playlists and only one put it on, then that's giving you some signal and feedback from the market. On top of that, it is giving you some early indicators of how audiences are responding in terms of saves or follows. But ultimately, it doesn't build a fan base. And remember, it's all about your song. Maybe it's just not good enough. So no playlisting is going to necessarily fix that. And then I learned that meta matters. Meta, woohoo! Instagram, Facebook. I began experimenting. I was seeing a lot of commentary on YouTube and in other forums of how important the role of meta advertising would be to create genuine stream growth, but also listener engagement and followers. So you've got some choices to make. You can either do it yourself, learn how about Facebook or meta advertising works and become an expert, or you can hire a manager who sets up the creative for you and then runs a campaign. In my case, and look, there's lots of options out there, some great people on YouTube that I listen to, such as Andrew Southwood and the other people I'll put some links to below. Where I went to in the end, though, and I do find some of them quite expensive as a campaign manager, maybe not saying they're not worth it, but just I was looking at other options, so I went to Fiverr, and you can get a campaign manager there a bit more cost effectively. So that's what I did. I appointed a Fiverr manager to run the campaign for me for about a month. So they set it up. They do all the things like getting the hooks and the creatives and landing pages and the budgets all set up. And you choose how much you want to invest in the budget, of course. And during those weeks of the campaign, they're able to tweak and fine-tune so that they can achieve the best or lowest cost per conversion. After that first month, I decided to leave the campaign running, but let the manager go. So I just literally kept going what he was doing for another month or so. So in total, I spent heading towards $1,000 Australian, so it's about $700 America. So I didn't bet a fortune on this process, but the great thing was I learned. What have I seen as a result? It has improved. I've seen an increase in followers. I think I did an earlier video about, how I've got less than 50 followers. Well, now I've got less than 100 followers, so it's almost doubled. And I have found a stronger engagement from those few fans who discovered me through that process. So I've got a lot of organic plays every day now. So it's not subject to playlisting anymore. With the song that I was promoting, it's typically getting a lot of streams per month just through those organic Spotify radio plays. So the bottom line with Meta, it was a relatively low-cost trial. It did work. I got more followers, more streams, and more organic algorithm plays as well, which is meaning that over time, the cost per stream is coming down and down and down. It was really, really expensive when I first started, but because of the organic amount of streams now, it's starting to not be cheap, but it's starting to certainly reduce. And if that continues, that could be a good thing. And there's a new trend that's emerged that's really, really interesting as well. They're talking about not just promoting songs, but promoting a playlist. So the idea here is you build a playlist that, of course, includes or features your song and, in fact, other songs on your catalog, but creates a playlist experience which is far more immersive for attracting listeners into your orbit. For those of people that you attract to that playlist, they're clearly engaged around the theme or the vibe of your playlist, and it lets your track sit alongside other artists who are of similar nature or genre, or the audience already loves. So in terms of what I would do differently in 2025, go playlisting, go build your own playlist and promote it as well as a way of growing fan base and streams and followers. So in terms of what all this playlisting concept means, it means launching now with a new song, I would actually build a playlist, promote that playlist with complementary artists and genre fit, and then find out a way to create a new audience. So what am I doing next? Okay, let's summarize all this about what I would do differently in launching a song in 2025. First thing is have a real budget. Oh, it's sad but true. So we've been there and done that. You can either leave it out there and the song is so amazing, it'll be picked up by the algorithm and you'll be an overnight success, one plan, or you're happy and proud with the art to stand as it is. You do you. No issue with that at all. But if you are intent on building connection for that song with a new audience, then you're going to have to invest. And as I've talked about before, I've underinvested in every song, even my most recent song, I've underinvested. Now I've got to the point that I'm not going to invest further because I've got a new song I'm working on, very excited about. That's where I'm going to now invest for the next song. The bottom line is traction needs fuel, and the bigger spend you make is going to move those needles in terms of listeners, engagement, and ultimately the Spotify popularity index. Now, of course, whether it really breaks is still up to being an awesome song. The second thing I would do is I would still have playlisting as part of my strategy. As I say, there's a real value there in getting some quick wins, some quick market feedback. They do give you some useful feedback. I know lots of it's already pre-written or whatever, but sometimes there's some gems there of feedback, and it could just help you moderate whether this is a song worth investing in or whether you need to reconsider your strategy. Also to see which genre tracks pick you up. Maybe you thought it was indie rock, but it turns out to be more indie pop. Such a confusing area. So the bottom line is use playlisting for feedback, not for fame. I'd then launch a meta ads campaign. I would engage with one of those professional managers, and I'd need to invest in them supporting the campaign over a prolonged period. All of them recommend at least 3 months, and I haven't done that in the past. But to complement that, I would also adopt this playlisting strategy, build that complementary playlist, and have that as part of the marketing mix as well, where the meta ad campaign is either promoting the song individually or the playlist. And again, just look to see the results and to optimize those outcomes. So that's number 5. It's really test and learn. Just constantly experiment, tweak. Obviously, your manager will be doing the hard work here. They'll be really identifying what needs to happen and change, and they can communicate that with you. But ultimately, it is about a test and learn to see how the song responds and how you can optimize its outcome. So there you go. That's what I've learned, and I'm planning for my own release later this year in 2025. If you're releasing new music in 2025, what's been your strategy? What have I missed here? What else would you do that's different? Let me know in the comments below. Please hit subscribe or like or whatever you need to do to keep in touch with the Indie Over 50 community. And remember, your best song may not be written yet. Rock on and keep Indie Over 50.